Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are fine. Let us start with our today's session. In today's session, we are going to discuss some new concept of Introduction to Euclid's Geometry. Just recall some of the concepts that we have learned in our previous session. So we have learned the meaning of theorems. A statement that requires a proof is called as theorem. We have all angles of triangle is 180 degree. Sum of all angles around a point is 360 degree. Okay, do you remember? We have learned this in our previous session. Also, we have learned the word corollary. What is the meaning of corollary? A statement whose truth can easily be deduced from the theorem. That statement is called as corollary. So, we can prove some statement using some theorems. So that statements is called as corollary statements. Next one. Also we have learned some examples. Here there are 3 points A, B, C on the same line. The point B is between A and C, and we have to show that AB plus BC is equal to AC. Here we have to show that AB plus BC is equal to AC. But look at here, this AC is made up of AB plus BC. AC is made up of AB plus BC. So AB plus BC is coincide with AC, and we know that the Euclid's axioms that things which are coincide with each another are equal to one another. If the two things are coincide with each other, then these two things are equal to one another. So that's why AB plus BC is equal to AC. So you have to remember this axiom. Now next one is prove that an equilateral triangle can be constructed on any given line. We have learned this also in our previous session. Suppose we have given the length AB. Here we have the length AB. We does not know the length of AB. Also we can construct a equilateral triangle. Also take the same length as AB, take B is the center and draw another arc, call that intersecting point is C and join the point AC and AB. You get the equilateral triangle ABC. Since the length of AB, AC and BC are same, the triangle is called as equilateral triangle. So we can construct an equilateral triangle. We can construct an equilateral triangle on any given line segment. Okay, without using or without actual measuring the scale, just with the help of compass, we can construct an equilateral triangle with any given line. Okay. Now next one is theorem. Two distinct lines cannot have more than one point in common. If there are two distinct lines, and if the lines are intersecting with each other, then they are intersecting with each other only in one point. Now if we suppose assume that these two lines L and M, they are intersecting with each other in 2 points, say P and Q. Suppose there are two lines L and M, they are intersecting with each other in 2 points, say P and Q. Now we have learned that only one line can pass through two distinct points. Only one line can pass through two distinct points. So there must be a point passing through the point P also, since here P is also intersecting point, Q is also intersecting points. So only that means only one line through P and Q, but it is contradiction to our assumption that only one line can pass through two distinct points. So therefore our assumption is wrong. The two lines, now you have to remember only that two lines, that L and M, This line is suppose L, this line is suppose M. They are intersecting with each other only in single point, only in one point. Okay, so there is a one point common between two intersecting lines. Okay, so you have to remember the statement that only one line can be passed through two distinct points. If there are only 2 points, then we can draw only one line passing through 2 points. Okay. Also, we have started exercise 5.1. Just recall one by one which of the following statements are true and which are the false. We have to give reason for this. Our first statement is only one line can pass through a single point. Okay, look at here. Here it is a one single point, and is only one line can pass through a single point? No, there are infinitely many lines passing through this single point. That means our statement is false. Okay, infinitely many lines can pass through a single point. Next one, there are infinite number of lines which pass through two distinct points. Look at here. Now these are two distinct points. So we can draw only one line passing through those 2 points. In only one point there are infinitely lines passing through this one point. But if two distinct points, then only one line can pass through two distinct points. That means this statement is infinitely on both the sides. Terminated line. Terminated line means what? A line segment. Look at here, this is the line segment A and B. So we can extend this line segment at both the ends, okay, indefinitely. Therefore, this statement is true. A terminated line can be produced indefinitely on both the sides. Fourth one, if two circles are equal, then their radius are also equal. Correct. If two circles are equal, then they are coincide with each other, and we have learned that if the two circles are coincide with each other, then their radius are equal. Okay. So therefore this statement is true. And the last one is what? In figure, AB is equal to PQ. Here there is not a minus sign, it is equal to sign. AB is equal to PQ. That means the line segment AB is equal to the line segment PQ. AB is equal to PQ. This PQ is equal to XY. That the PQ is matches with XY. Then obvious, if AB is equal to PQ, PQ is equal to XY, then obviously AB is equal to XY. What is the reason behind it? According to Euclid's axiom, the things which are equal to same thing, they are equal to one another. Since AB is equal to PQ and PQ is equal to XY, okay, the things which are same to the equal thing. Since AB is equal to PQ and PQ is equal to XY, that's why the length of AB and XY is also same. So our statement is true. So go for the next example of exercise 5.1. Give a definition for each of the following terms. Give the definition for each of the following terms. Are there other terms that need to be defined first? What are they and how might you define them? Our first question is parallel lines. Okay. So we need to have an idea about the terms like point, line, ray, angle. Okay, we have to draw these parallel lines, line segments, where we have to define all these terms. So what we have to require for this? We have to need to have an idea about point, line, ray, angle, plane, circle, quadrilateral. Okay, before defining the required term. All of you know that about point, line, ray, angle, plane, circle. Okay, so now we are going to define one by one. First one is what? Parallel lines. How can we define parallel lines? Look at here. L and M are parallel lines. they are in the same plane, okay, and they have no common point. If we write them as L is parallel to M. Okay, how can we define these two lines? These two lines lies in the same plane. They have no common point. Since they are parallel, they are not intersecting, and we define them as L parallel to M. This is sign of parallel. L parallel with M. Okay. Next one, perpendicular lines. Look at the figure. The two lines P and Q are lying in the same plane are said to be perpendicular if they form a right angle. 90 degree, then we call this the line P is perpendicular with Q. This is a sign of perpendicular. The line P is perpendicular to Q. Okay. Next one, line segment. What is the line segment? A line segment is a part of line and having a definite length. Okay. Line segment is a part of line. Line means what? If we extend this line segment from both the ends, we get a line. Okay. We can't measure this line since it is indefinite. But the line segment is a part of line. It's having a definite length. It has two ends, A and B. You have to remember how to define line segment. Line segment is a part of line having a definite length. Also it has two points A and B, or two ends, and we have to we write this as AB or BA. Okay, we denote this line segment as AB or BA. Next one is radius of circle. All of you know that. How can we define radius of circle? Yes, the distance from a center to a point on the circle is called as radius of the circle. So in this figure, P is the center and Q is the any point on the circle, and PQ is called as the radius. So distance from the center to any point on the circle is called as radius of the equal. So here PQRS is a quadrilateral. Quadrilateral means what? Having four sides. Four-sided figure is called as quadrilateral. And if the quadrilateral having all angles are right angles and all sides are equal, then that quadrilateral is called as square. So here PQRX is a quadrilateral, it's a square. Now third example. Consider two postulates given below. Look at carefully. First one is, given any two distinct points A and B, there exists a third point C which is in between A and B. Okay. Now we have given any two distinct points here A and B, and there exists a third point C which is in between A and B. That is, the point C lies between A and B. Now the second postulate is, there exist at least 3 points that are not on the same line. There exist at least 3 points that are not on the same line. Okay. Do these postulates contain any undefined term? Are these postulates consistent? Do they follow from Euclid's postulate? Explains. So there are so many questions here. First one is what? Do these postulates contain any undefined term? Are these postulates are consistent, and do they follow from Euclid's postulates? Okay. So now solution is what? Yes, this postulate contains undefined term such as point and line. Okay. In this postulate, the term point and lines are not defined. Okay. So this because they deal with two different situations. Okay, these are consistent because they deal with a different situation, because these two postulates are different. First postulate says that given two points A and B, there is a point C lying between them. Okay, that means there are 2 points A and B, and the point C is lies between A and B. And what about the second? Second says that given points A and B, you can take point C which is not lying on the A and B, that is which is not lying on the line AB. So this postulate do not follow from Euclid's postulate. However, they follow from the axiom given two distinct points, there is a unique line that passes through them. Okay, they are given two distinct points, there is a unique line that passes through them. Okay, so this is the solution of question number 3. So you have to just read the question number 3 again and then read the solution. It's very simple. Okay.